Wow,
Went, yeah.
that was like the longest, what was it, 45 seconds of my life.
The whole minute on my end. Good grief. Right.
I
Well,
was
there you go.
entertained.
Well, we've
Music was
started.
chill.
Let me start by welcoming Angela and Riley.
Hello. Do you know
Welcome,
what?
Angela, to your own show.
I have to go
You have to
just for
go.
a second because I can hear myself talking. I'm assuming
Oh.
I've left the tab open. This is a good start, isn't it? You guys just get on with it.
Okay.
Oh, like in the other room or something.
Oh, maybe. Possibly.
Ooh.
This
This is the fun part of, live streaming. You get these little hiccups.
Oh, dear. So, Riley, tell us about your band.
I was like, what is that? I don't believe in ghosts. What can that voice be?
It was definitely ghosts.
You may not believe in them, but they believe in you.
Oh. So how have we been this week?
Well, I just hit holidays, so I'm great.
Oh, yes, definitely school holidays.
Yeah, fantastic.
How about you, Riley?
And I just got to the end of like 6 weeks of continually being sick, so...
Oh, hopefully the holiday will rejuvenate what's happening.
Finalise. Oh, dear. That and the antibiotics that I took will definitely get me up there.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeesh. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm okay. Riley, what were you doing?
It was spring break this week for Kimmy. So she's a teacher, my wife.
Oh, spring break. Describe that to us, because that's a little bit different to how we do it in Australia.
Yeah, we have like a week off of school.
Oh,
so
just a week.
As a teacher, she just gets to chill. Yeah. Like in the UK, I know they just started their Easter break, which is 2 weeks long. I'm like, what? Why can't we do something like that? So you guys have that, or?
Yeah, most of our terms go. So we had a 10-week term. So we start like end of January. Well, we do 10 weeks. We get 2 weeks off for Easter. Our school do 9 weeks again, and then we'll get 3 weeks off for winter. And then we do, usually it's like another 10 and then another 8. 10, then 2 weeks off for September, October holidays. And then we finish off with an 8-week term usually, then Christmas. So that's usually how, but we're a private school, so we get a little bit more time. So we do longer days, but shorter term.
So that's nice.
Because you're allocated, schools are allocated a number of minutes per year they have to get through. So we do longer days, but then our term is shorter. So yeah, I kind of like it like that.
Yeah, we would love that. We always talk about, I think that one of the schools here, or one of the districts in this area went to a 4-day school week.
Oh, yes, I've heard about trials like that.
Yeah, and we're both like, yes, please, that would be amazing. I think more jobs should be like that. 10-hour days if you need to hit those 40 hours. That's fine.
Yeah, I believe some of the research coming out of that is indicating that you kind of get to a point in a week where you've learned stuff, and there's it's diminishing returns after a certain point.
Oh, really?
But at the same time, the problem is that we get pressured because you get a whole bunch of politicians get involved trying to run their campaign off of improving education, and most of their agenda is just about better results. And so to get better results, you do more time and you teach the tests and blah blah blah. Anyway, this is a great way to start a geek discussion with the intricacies of politics and education. I hope everybody is riveted to their seats right now. I know I am.
But we have got something good, geeky to discuss today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to adjust my camera so if it looks a little weird. It's because I feel like I'm disappearing. There we go. That's better. Excellent. So what are we geeking out on this week?
Well, we're going to geek out on the new Mutants, which is a movie that you said I should watch, and I did.
Excellent. Good.
I watched it too.
Good.
And Riley watched it too, so we can discuss it. But I did have a question for you both. Did you see the new trailer for Secret Invasion that dropped just, I don't know, an hour or two ago?
No.
I saw that there was a trailer and it started playing on my phone, but I was doing other things and I couldn't watch it. So
You gotta watch it because let's see if our share thing works. Should we do that before we talk about?
Yeah. I mean, sure, as long as we're not going to get copy striked for it.
Oh, I don't know how it works. Let's. Well, we've got it. These streams at the moment are a test, right?
Yeah, totally.
We're trying to work
Oh,
out
good.
how to get things to work so that they're better
Yeah.
going forward.
As
So
they play it.
let's give it a go. Hang on. And share. Oh, let's see if the sound is there.
I'm hearing
coming
it.
in from my end.
Fury.
It's not coming in on your end?
It is, yeah.
Since you've been gone, things have gotten much worse.
It's quite dark, isn't it?
How do you think I came back?
Is it really him or is it Scroll Fury?
You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us, old friend.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Right?
This is personal.
Very few of us know about the wars fought in the shadows that have raged on this planet. Do you feel responsible?
Oh, I'm so glad she's in it.
Where are the Avengers?
This war is one I have to fight alone.
You're the most wanted man on the planet.
You don't know what they have planned for you.
The great Nick Fury. One last fight.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks good, right?
Yeah.
No?
That was exciting.
Yes. You don't know how you feel?
No, I know exactly how I feel, and it's confusing, Angela.
Because I dropped that on you, didn't I? I know we are going to talk New Mutants, but when I saw that this morning, I immediately thought of you, and I was like, "Oh my lord! I wonder if you've seen it."
So, because you know, I haven't watched anything since Spider-Man 3, right?
Yes,
I jumped off I'm a huge Marvel fan. Over there is like boxes of Marvel comics. I've got boxes stored at a friend's place. I have pretty much every X-Men comic for between a lot of the 80s, 90s. I've got the first 3 volumes of New Mutants, including the first appearance of Deadpool, first appearance of Gambit.
wow.
I love my Marvel, but Marvel have been such a disappointment in the movie scene for a while now. And then I see that, and it's like, that actually looks good.
It's good, right?
It doesn't feel right. Like,
Well, Clowny Nerf, right?
yes, exactly.
Hey, Clowny, how you going, buddy?
That's
one of
my
my
issue.
pals from
Do
the
I
Nerf
trust
days.
them? They've let me down so many times recently. Do I
That
trust?
looks good.
What about the TV shows? TV
No,
show wise, they're like killing it.
The TV shows.
I think the TV
WandaVision,
series are so good.
WandaVision was excellent.
Yeah.
It had some ups and downs, but overall, I loved it.
Yeah. Well, see, I think it was funny with the kids because the kids at school hated the first few episodes, and they're the ones I loved the most. Because
I actually felt that way too. The first 2 episodes, my wife and I almost were like done.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. It's it's intriguing. Like they're putting little snippets in there, of intrigue.
Yes. But because I grew up with I Dream of Jeannie and all those sort of Bewitched and those sorts of things, and watching those old golden age television shows, and they were like the way they brought that together was brilliant. So but I don't know what TV shows have you loved recently, Riley?
I mean, Loki was really, really good. I think that might have been my
Okay.
favorite.
Oh, really?
Um,
Yeah, I've got to get
but
past the first episode.
oh man, yeah, I love it. I think it's
Really?
so well done. I also
Oh,
think
okay.
that I liked the Falcon and Winter Soldier one too. I know that
Okay.
one people kind of poo-pooed on, but I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, I
Like
quite
Yeah.
like that as well.
I liked it more than WandaVision.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
like I think it had a strong like it was stronger throughout. WandaVision kind of had ups and downs for me.
okay. Sure. My only problem with WandaVision is that it turned into a standard Marvel film in the last episode where it was just a whole bunch of CGI
Oh,
Yeah.
animation and fighting. Like I get to a point now in most of those films where I'm like, oh, okay, third act, now it's just the animators taking over and it's just
yeah, it's painful.
a visual
Yeah.
vomit on a screen.
I think that's like it was getting better and better and better. And then that last episode, it was just a big old fight. You know, it was so boring because it was like you've built up all this kind of intrigue, this like
Yeah.
mystery and wonder, and then this is how you're ending it.
Yep.
Eh,
Yeah.
let down.
Okay, we see. I haven't watched the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Clown. You know, if I'm going to have to take your word for that, that I'm going to let Riley comment on that one.
Like the first episode took away their budget. The first episode was pretty big, but I felt like throughout the entire season it was really good. I thought there
Yeah.
was a
I
lot
like the
of
social
heart.
stuff that was in it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, there was
and
social stuff in it.
Yeah, it touches on social issues, I thought anyway.
I have
yeah,
no idea.
Yeah.
I just don't know. The
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, I kind of
I thought that was really cool. Yeah, like that was the interesting thing for me was like Falcon had his kind of journey that he was going on and Bucky had his journey that he was going on and they both had like different issues that they were kind of
Yeah.
dealing with. But Bucky's for me like every time something but that was one thing I was disappointed in is that I feel like they didn't fully explore Bucky's side of things. Maybe because it was darker. Well, it was darker in a different way actually because the other one's also it was dark in a more real way.
Yeah.
So I don't know, yeah. But I loved that one. I don't even remember what other shows there are.
oh well, the big ones recently. Did you watch it, Ange?
Which one?
Did you watch Winter Soldier?
The TV show or I've watched everything other than the only one that I've dropped off. I dropped off on 2. I've dropped off on Loki. I think I'm like maybe 6 episodes in or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And I dropped off on Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah, that really bombed rating wise too. Like
It
that
was
did not
just too
perform.
childish, but they did do really clever stuff in the editing
I
on
was
it
I was
though.
really annoyed to
Like,
hear that they made her the first mutant in the Marvel Cinematic
oh,
Universe. That really, she's not a mutant. No, that's not how it works. No.
She's
I
an
assume we're gonna get
inhuman.
more of that in the Marvel movie, like the Marvels or whatever, the one that's coming
Oh,
out.
yeah, the one that keeps getting pushed back because the rating response, the viewer responses are so poor. They keep taking it back for
Yeah. Which
reshoots.
is annoying because I really want another Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, I do too.
I was
Yeah.
surprised it got into the $1 billion club. I really do think it rode high because it was in between the two and like Infinity Wars and Endgames. Because
Like
I
people
wasn't
wanted that
overwhelmed by it.
taste.
Like I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't like some of the. I didn't necessarily agree with some of the decisions. I don't know why they had to make the Avengers connected to her plane or anything like that.
Do you know, I don't even remember. I just
I
remember
don't remember that
the
either.
only thing that annoyed me about it, and I loved it, and it's kind of ironic that annoyed me, but I felt like it was a bit of a sledgehammer on girl power. Like, we get it already. Like, we get it. You don't need to hit us over the head with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
We
loved it.
my wife was kind of the same way. You know, like we left and I didn't want to say that, but I was like, I felt like it was over the top on that. I was thinking that, but I was
Yeah.
never gonna say that. And then she said it, and I was like, okay, because I felt like it was like cheesily done. That's the problem, is when it's like
Yeah.
when it feels
Yeah.
like it's not right, or where it's over the top type of thing. It's just like, why are you bringing up that you're doing this? Like you're, a badass because you're a girl or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
just be a badass because you're a
sorry.
badass.
Yes, and just
Clowny
ignore
Nerf.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm listening to you, Riley, and then
Oh
Clowny Nerf
yeah,
is just nailing it. Like, I would love to see more
Oh,
Agent Carter.
I think
I
we
was
all would.
yes,
heartbroken
Clowny.
when that went down, when that finished up.
I've got my book here, I think. Hang on.
Oh,
This is how much I love it.
that was a great couple of seasons.
You see that?
Just
That was
brilliant.
awesome.
I love it.
What an
Love
excellent
it.
lead. What a great cast.
Oh, so good.
Just fantastic.
I
Yeah.
agree. Solidly done.
Yes, no, I watched the first episode of Loki and I was so thoroughly bored I couldn't bring myself to keep going. But I am told it gets better.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
you know what?
just-
Actually, Kimmy felt the same way. I think I kind of pushed her through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't have someone
still may bring it
driving
up.
me forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just went,
I
There wasn't
enjoyed
enough.
it. I didn't finish Miss Marvel either, by the way, which is really
Oh.
sad because I read Miss Marvel, like I bought the comics as they were coming
Oh,
out.
okay.
Like
Which generation of Miss Marvel comics did you buy?
the very first, and then when they did the I'm trying to look at my shelf, but it's a little far away. And then the next run, I can't remember what was after that. Was that Marvel Now? No. Oh, I don't remember what came after that.
That's
But
all right. There's a lot of
yeah.
comics.
It did get relaunched a few times. I know
It
that.
did. I think I got to the second and then the third.
Right.
And then I stopped, but that was mainly because I just stopped all comics. But that was one of my like staples that I was keeping up with for a while because I thought the comics were so good. So then
Right.
when I was watching the show, they had changed so many things.
So
I was
when
kind of
you
like,
say
I need
you're
to
looking
take a
at-
break and come back at it.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you then. You're
You're
talking about the Kamala Khan series, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's what the one the TV show's based on, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
Oh,
They
okay.
definitely changed a lot of things. And some of that, like, I don't necessarily mind. But I think it would have been better had they kept it the original stuff, because it's kind of like, why are you changing it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good question. Like I kind of like when I was sick for a good couple of weeks, I just decided to go back and watch all the X-Men movies. And going back to the original Bryan Singer stuff, I just forgot how much it got me excited about, superhero films in general. But thinking about one of the things that was really of interest in that time was all the changes they did make. But I think in that film it was they really thought hard about what does this look like in this world. Whereas I feel like that sort of thinking isn't part of the process anymore. It's just the rule of cool now, where if they think they can make it cooler, I'm not sure, but it felt like it used to be more about, does this work in the realistic world that we're trying to set it in, versus now I don't know why certain things get changed. It doesn't seem to have.
Well, I think for hers, they were trying to drive family. And so I think, spoiler for episode 1 or something, right?
Yep.
That it comes from like the bracers
bracelet.
or something.
Yeah, I heard that.
So it wasn't even like she got powers, right? In the comics, it's the Inhuman, the Terrigen Mist that gives her powers.
Because Miss Marvel, going back into my very dodgy comic book history now, it was based on Marvel, right?
Like original Miss, like Carol Danvers types, or even before, right?
Yeah. But he was the mentor to Carol Danvers, and then she took over the Marvel power. However, I don't know how that happened.
I can't remember either.
Yeah,
I do not know. So
great. Yeah, well, it's not like we have any one of us are in front of a computer and can use Google to check that out.
No.
I'll see if I can find. Dear.
But I mean,
Anyway,
Sometimes they make changes and it is for the better. Like I'm trying to think of something right now, but I'm blanking. But I've definitely seen things where I've expected something to change. Well, even Spider-Man 3, right? Like what they were doing with Mysterio. There was a little while where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of buying this. Like, is he legit?
yeah,
Like, is Mysterio legit here? Is he not the bad guy? I guess that's cool. That's a different change. I'm
yeah.
buying this.
That's Far From
And
Home. That was the second one, and I agree. I
oh yeah, second,
really liked
second.
what they did with him. I thought I had that moment too. I'm like, oh, maybe they're not taking it down the supervillain path. Like, okay,
Yeah,
like,
it's good when they do that though. When
yeah,
you
like it
when
really
you
had me questioning what's going on.
I like that in regular shows as well, like non-superhero shows when you start to question what the morality is of the situation. It's good.
Clowny knows commenting on Ghost Rider. I feel the pain there.
Oh,
Yes, in fact, in two films, don't they? They continually rip it out. I'd be interested to know what Clowny thought of Ghost Rider's portrayal in
Agents of
Agents of
Shield.
Shield.
Yeah. With
The
Robbie Reyes. Wasn't that
yeah,
Robbie? Yeah.
oh yeah,
oh
something like
man.
that.
I stopped watching that as well, actually, now that I'm thinking.
I never
Well,
finished it. I think I had maybe 2 seasons left, but
yeah, we
Yeah.
watched. We were watching it when it was on free to air, and then it got thrown to some ridiculous time slot, and then
oh,
we found the DVDs at our local library, and so we just got
Oh,
them out and
okay.
started watching it again, and I like just fell in love with it. The whole thing. I've been through all the seasons now, and I just have a lot of respect for that show. I think it took you, for my wife who isn't a big science fiction fan, like she does Doctor Who, and that's about her limit. Um, but even she was into it. Like she was quite enjoying the shows and the episodes,
Okay.
and they went to some pretty out there
Right?
stuff in
That
the
I
last few
think that's why I
seasons.
stopped watching. It got really weird.
Yeah, like they went into some, time travel, alternate universe sort of stuff.
I
But
think
I
that's
thought,
where I pulled out was somewhere in the time travel one.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, you see, I normally don't like I hated time travel in Endgame. Like I thought that was that's why I didn't enjoy Endgame anywhere near as much as Infinity War, because then they just went to time travel, and time travel is one of the hardest things to do well, to be consistent, to get your rules around it right. Because if you're going to sort of delay, what do you call it, disbelief. If you're going to suspend disbelief, it has to be, you have to be convincing enough. And I felt like their time travel stuff got sloppy, and then it just became a bit messy. But I felt they were really consistent in Agents of Shield. Excellent. It's a good version of Ghost Rider. They use Ghost Rider well. So
Yeah, I definitely didn't mind their portrayal of him. So I thought that was good. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed Agents of Shield. I think because I was watching it live, and this happens to me all the time, where somewhere mid-season I just kind of like stop being able to
Yeah.
watch it or something, and then
yeah,
I end up never, it's a year, and then I'm like, oh, I don't remember what episode I was on, and I just don't end up going back to it for whatever reason. But
yeah. Yeah, well, and even Disney took a long time to get it onto their streaming service, which I found interesting. Like they had season one on
hmm,
there for ages, but they didn't update the later seasons for a long time. I don't know why it took so long.
So it's on
yeah,
Disney now?
I believe it's all on Disney now. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But
I might catch up.
when I was looking at it a while ago, it was they just had season one, and that was kind of it. So
Okay.
maybe it was contractually trying to. They couldn't play it in Australia because we had some license with some other company, whatever.
Yeah.
You know how all those things work.
yeah. Season 1 was great though. Season 1 to me was just so cool. It was so well done.
Yeah,
A lot of that spy stuff, which I think Secret Invasion is going to get into, of like
Yeah, a bit
spies in a
darker.
Marvel world.
yeah.
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 I really like the tie-ins that happened to Winter Soldier and all the Avengers stuff that was happening at the time.
Yeah.
You didn't need to know about it to see what was going on, but all the links were there. And if you're
Yeah.
following the full story, it was worth it. Yeah, it is pretty. I don't know if we can pull up a picture of it at all, actually.
What are we looking for?
Ghost Rider from Agents
Agents
of
of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Yeah, I really need to catch up on it. I don't even know why. I think I stopped watching because it just got weird.
Yeah, I
The
think
portals and whatnot going on.
Yeah, I think when I was doing it episode to episode over a number of weeks, like I wasn't having an issue following it, but yeah, but I was pretty invested by then. Like by the time you get to season 6, you're like, I'm not pulling out. Yeah, looks great. They
That
did really
does look
well.
good, actually.
That's
Nicolas Cage that's Ghost Rider, right? Have I
No.
remembered that right?
In
That
the
was-
in the
was the-
movies.
In the
Yeah.
movie.
the original movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I picture when I think of Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Johnny Blaze.
Things. But I didn't read the comics connected to this generation, so
Yeah, I haven't either,
I
actually.
had a lot to learn about him. He was very cool. I love the car that he drove. Because he was the first one not on a bike or something. Like he was driving a souped up car, and it was awesome. It's done really well.
Oh, okay.
So, but Angie, you've kept up with a bunch of the TV shows, haven't you?
Do you know what? I marathoned this week. I marathoned The Mandalorian because
Oh, okay.
I haven't been watching this season, and I am so glad I did because it's a good one.
Is it?
Oh, good.
Yeah, it
But,
kept me gripped the
ratings
whole
are down.
time.
All sorts of things are down on it, and I know I haven't been viewing it because I've been waiting for it to all get on there because I want to binge it.
I wonder if a lot of people are doing that though, and that's why the ratings are down.
Maybe
Yeah,
because it's so bingeable though. It's such a good show to just sit back and
yeah.
watch a few episodes.
It's a good season. I don't know why it would be failing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea either. I mean, because I was super pumped after the last season to get more.
Yeah. And I think the girl that's in it now, that Katie O'Brien, I can't remember her character's name, the muscly girl, the ex-Empire. She worked with Moff Gideon.
Okay, cool.
She's allegedly up for playing Abby in The Last of Us next season.
Oh, I did hear that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is more of Last of Us controversy, which I still haven't watched.
Oh, you need to watch. You need to watch it.
I'm sure I'll get to it at some point.
Yeah.
Have you finished it up now, Riley? You hadn't finished it last time.
No, yeah, I finished it right before we watched. Angela hadn't watched the last
Oh,
episode
right.
Yeah.
because we streamed like an hour after it,
That's right.
finished
Yeah.
airing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Did you like the ending?
It's The Last of Us. I was waiting on it, and yeah, I've got my thoughts. I had the same thoughts when I played the game, so nothing's changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, we can't get into that.
I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, surely by now you can spoil away, right? Like just
Oh, I'm not chancing it.
no. Okay,
I will say second. So I went and my buddy had the first game, the disc, and so I was like, yeah, I'll borrow it from him. I was so excited to play it. Go and I grab it from him and we're like talking about things, and then he spoiled the second game, and I was like,
No,
dude,
oh,
I just
no.
told, like, we literally just finished talking about how I don't want to hear spoilers.
Yeah, especially that spoiler. You don't want to hear that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just
that
looked
was
up if I
upsetting.
could get The Last of Us on Steam, and I can if I want to pay $100. Like,
Ooh.
come on.
Wait until it's in the sale.
How
Yeah.
old's this game?
Well,
They've
just came out
remastered
with
it
the
though,
remake.
haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's like they remastered it from PS3 to PS4, and then they remade it to
Oh, okay.
PS5 and PC or Steam. And that one, I think they like brought in some of the AI from the part 2 because the enemies are more intelligent. They like touched up
Okay.
a lot of the graphics. They added like a, more facial movement. So it's like more than just a remaster. I've heard kind of mixed things though. Like some things look a little better on the remaster than the remake,
Okay.
but other things are big improvements.
Oh, I didn't realize they'd done that. I just thought it was a rehash. Maybe I'll look at that. Although I'm playing Resident Evil 4 at the moment, and
Oh,
that's a remake.
is it? Oh man, I haven't played any of the Resident Evil games. I'm looking at The Last of Us here. Going, it at least looks interesting, but it's not going to be worth my $100. I'm not going to.
Oh, it's not worth that. Yeah, wait until it's on. Steam's terrible for that though. Their prices are really high, and when they go on sale, wow, they go on sale.
Oh yeah, what I was looking at with their board games. I was looking at some of their board games, and their board games are up around the $35-$40 mark.
I just bought loads of board games for $6 each. I think they were in the sale. That was only last week or the week before. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So, Last of Us, I'll wait for it to go on sale. But why Resident Evil? Was it Resident Evil you said? Or
just that we're playing it at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a remake.
I know between that and Silent Hill, I've got a lot of catching up on games to do.
Oh, there needs to be a new Silent Hill. So good.
Didn't they like start one and then cancel it?
Yeah, like the movies, right? They always, there's a new movie. No, there's not. Yes, no.
See, I don't know the games well enough to be disappointed by the first film. I
really liked the first
recently
film.
and I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I've got friends who are massive Silent Hill fans who are just like, nah, that movie was rubbish.
Oh, what?
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I was like, I love the ending. I was like, oh, that's amazing.
That's the one with Rada Mitchell in it, right?
Oh, that's certainly a name that's possibly in it.
Yeah, it's a good film. It's not terrible as video game films go.
Hey,
No.
Kimmy needs me soon. She just was texting me, but I want to talk about New Mutants. I hate to just like push us over there, and you guys can continue after I.
No, that's right. Well, we were kind of talking on Marvel anyway.
It's true. I feel really bad.
No, don't feel bad.
I think we got onto it because I texted you. I think New Mutants was potentially could have saved the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
I think that was my message to you both.
Did we talk about it on stream?
Sorry?
Did we talk about this on stream? I thought we.
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We touched on it.
Yeah, it was funny. So we had talked about it, and then the next day I was watching a friend's stream. She does like a geek show.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about news, recent geek news of all sorts of things, video games, movies, all this stuff. And she brought up like, well, the New Mutants, but she brought it up in a good way, that she was so mad that it didn't get the treatment or that the praise, that it got bombed in the ratings and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh boy, like that's on my list to watch this week for our next stream. And I literally watched it and would have finished it like 30 or 40 minutes when we were scheduled to start that stream before so I would have had like time to just process it and then we talk about it.
So you both watched it. Neither of you watched it when I messaged you. So, and you watched it in the car waiting.
I watched half of it in the car. I thought it was a TV show. This is the problem. I thought I'll put the first episode on, and then obviously found out it was a movie, and I finished it last week. So I have watched the whole thing. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So, and I did specify that neither of you have to even like it, but give me your first thoughts on it.
My first thoughts?
Yes.
I really liked it, but I feel like it should have been a horror film, and maybe they should have stuck to a horror thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the whole thing until the CGI at the end, which you mentioned earlier when they vomit CGI in the third act, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
Absolutely. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Riley, how did you go with it?
I had mixed feelings.
Yeah.
So I was liking, the beginning has this nice intense scene of something's going down in this town, right? Destroying things, killing people, whatever it is. And then it kind of ebbs and flows throughout the movie between like kind of comedy, but not, it doesn't ever, it like touches darkness, but I feel
Yeah.
like it never dives into the horror aspect, and I think that's where
Mhm.
it could have flourished, just
Oh,
like Angela was saying, like,
yeah.
if they just fully embraced the horror, the psychological stuff,
Yep.
boy,
The
that movie would have been amazing. It
yeah,
wasn't bad though.
no, that's true, and I think that's why probably where a lot of the criticisms fell on it was that it didn't go. I mean, being PG, still a PG film, going deep into the horror is problematic. Like, and that's one of the issues with a lot of the superhero films get to. And yes, Clowny Nerf. This is the one with Cannonball. Cannonball's the one in the image there with the cast on his arm. So yeah, they kind of pull back on the horror side of things, and it was kind of positive. Like, it was kind of advertised as sort of being this pseudo, like, in the horror genre, and horror at PG-13 is perhaps a little bit challenging or too big
Yeah.
an expectation to have. However, the thought for me was like, this is one of the things I really love about it, is that it actually does try to do something different. And I mean, interestingly, because it went into development hell for a while, it kind of got lost. While it was getting lost, half the cast got breakthrough roles in different things.
Yeah.
So when it
Jeez.
hit the screen, it had all this
Just a
great
bit.
cast in it. Yeah. So I had, like, was it Stranger Things? One of the kids from Stranger Things in it. Had Macy Williams go big on Game of Thrones. Anya Taylor-Joy, she did Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Did well on that. Recently in The Menu. Did you see The Menu?
No.
Okay, well, that is legitimate horror, but it's not psychological. It's more psychological horror than it is, like, it's not jump scary or anything.
Mhm.
It's more you're watching scenes unfold and you're, like, in the intense situation of what's going on. It's very good. But she actually co-starred with that was Beast from the X-Men.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? The young one from the new series. But yeah.
Yeah.
So my thinking is there that here's the thing. Like, I was struggling with Marvel for a while because it had gotten so formulaic. Like, it's the formula is good. The Marvel formula was a solid formula. But after all, the best way I could think of it is I'm gluten free, right? So I don't eat gluten, and this will go somewhere. I promise.
Okay.
But we found this gluten-free store, and people were, like, so excited to share it with me and tell me about it. And they bought me a whole bunch of stuff from there, and it was really nice, like, really nice of them. But the problem was that as I ate it, I realized it was pretty much exactly the same formula, just delivered differently. And so after a while, I was, like, very much not interested in what I was eating. Because
Okay.
if you have the scrolls, they're the same as the buns, except it's just shaped differently, a few different toppings. And that's how Marvel's become for me. So I was going to link it in.
Yeah.
Marvel's become effectively very much the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's not. I think I saw it in Atrophy. It was starting to. Everything was starting to taste the same. It was becoming very bland. There was nothing new or exciting. For me, the idea of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that you've got any number of genres you can explore with these characters. So I think horror, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Horror can be explored using Marvel characters because you've got excellent like powers to draw from, excellent characters to draw from. But straight up comedy was explored. That's kind of where Thor tried to go. I'm not sure how successful it was. The third one, definitely not so. Second one, more so.
Yeah.
But you've got more suspense. You've got more dramatic options available. I think for me, the thing that should be saving the Marvel universe is stuff like this, where more independent filmmaking. More sort of experimental stuff going on the side, in the side universe, and that's really what Ant-Man was trying to be. The first Ant-Man, made by Edgar Wright, was it was him going, yes, it's in the universe, but we're not connecting it with anything. and he had this whole concept about how the Ant-Man universe would work. He wanted to explore it, wrote a great script, delivered the first film, and then Marvel went, oh, well, the fan base is really blown up about this. We're going to link it into the film series. And that's when he stepped off. And then it
Yeah.
became not an Edgar Rice film. And I think, I don't think any of the Ant-Man series has managed to equal the first one.
Yeah. Well, the new one hasn't done very well, has it? By
No, it's financially
comparison.
flopped. It's absolutely financially flopped. I don't know. Did either of you see the latest one?
No.
Haven't yet.
It
Well,
was,
it says
you know
it's-
why? It just looked like CGI, and I was like,
Yeah, well, that's what it sort of came down to. And then they've got this to sort of make it all fit. Everything has to, nothing really, there's no risk to anything. Everything sort of, it's like a Simpsons episode. Everything's reset right at the end. So all this chaos happens, and then we're just back to the beginning, and then nothing.
From what I heard, the new, Ant-Man, they had written this awesome movie, and then the studio heads, who the powers that be, are say like, well, this also needs to be a comedy, right? Like, be sure to get those things in there, and they did, and it, like, people, some critics that I know and trust were saying that it threw off the tone, like it didn't match up right where it should have, and things like that. And I think Marvel does this a couple of times. Kelsey Grammer was the best Beast.
He was great.
He was
He was a
great,
great
yeah.
choice. I don't think
Yeah.
he could do it now, but he was a good
Yeah.
option because he brought that animated Beast to life. But yeah, sorry, go on, Riley.
Yeah. So I was looking at the director, because I think directors can absolutely make or break a film, right?
Yeah.
And Josh Boone was the director of New Mutants.
Mhm.
I didn't really know who he was, so I went and looked. The two films he directed before this were Stuck in Love and The Fault in Our Stars.
Yes.
Oh.
So more on that, like, romance, comedy, drama, type of feel. And I think that comes through in this movie. The scenes that are a bit more beautifully done are the kind of more like intimate scenes
Yeah.
between two characters. And I thought that was pretty well done, other than weird accents, like
Oh, that Charlie
everybody.
Heaton's accent, the guy from Stranger Things, in this movie. Oh, what on earth was happening?
Yeah.
I don't.
I thought everybody, like, even like Macy Williams sounded
Her
off.
Irish accent.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
I honestly could not tell. And Magic's, I was like, Russian, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, I like Magic, actually. Like, I love Magic in the comics.
Oh, she's brilliant.
And she's brilliant. And I was just like, what is happening with all these voices? But
accents can destroy a film, though, right? When I hear a Scottish accent in a TV show or a movie, and you can tell straight away they're American doing a Scottish accent, it just turns me right off. In fact, I watched something this week, and that was the case. I can't even remember what it was. Could have been The Mandalorian, even. And I was like, oh, why?
Yeah.
Find a Scottish actor. It's not that hard.
It's not. And there's plenty of really good ones out there. However, like, I must admit, like, accents aside, Anya Taylor-Joy, who did Magic, I just think brought to life from the comic books, like, just brought the comic book straight onto the screen for me. Especially when she fully goes Magic. I was like, I may have wet my pants a little, just a teeny bit. I was very excited. I thought she did an excellent job. She looked the part. They didn't overdo the CGI, so they made it look like the more classic 90s, early 2000s look. I thought she was very excellent.
Yeah, her scares, I don't know what they were called. Sorry, I've totally
They were
blanked.
the best. Yeah, totally.
Oh my goodness, they were like a cross between. They remind me of the Silence from Doctor Who crossed with the guys from Hush from Buffy. They were terrifying.
They were good.
Really good.
I think one of them. I think not the main one. No, I know. Marilyn. I think Marilyn Manson did the voice for that character.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's right. yeah, Marilyn Manson did the voice or something for that. I'd have to check that.
Interesting.
But yeah, I know he was involved in that character somehow.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I thought that was the pinnacle of the horror, and that
Yeah.
I don't even know what happened with them now that I'm thinking about it. Like they just kind of ran away, maybe, and like the the characters ran away from them, evaded them for long enough, fought a couple of them,
Yeah.
and then Danny does her thing, which as somebody who I'm always a little bit annoyed with Marvel and DC with their portrayal of Native American heroes, because they always give them some sort of like spirit animal or so, like, and I'm just like, that's, that we're more than that, right? Like, that we could just be something else, right? Like
Yeah, I
Stereotypes.
it's a hard one because I think they sort of have a bit of that bent in the comics too, though, is the
yes.
issue there. But you're right, like it's you need a little bit less of the stereotype and more of a nuanced. I think it's just more interesting for people watching to see a more
Yeah.
developed
Actually,
character
now
that
that
way.
you've mentioned that, I suppose the Irish girl was like staunch Catholic. The
Oh
redneck
yes.
guy was a minor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's an
gosh.
issue. Now that you've highlighted it, Riley.
They totally play into like these stereotypes with
Yeah.
this. And grant they're all old characters when it was all about playing into like stereotype roles and making them
Oh yeah,
superheroes or
and
something.
you've got it in a sense, like, and I think this is what led
Still.
to some of the confusion with the film is that it did have that starting high school vibe of when those films about where someone's starting a new high school and you meet all the cliched characters. It
Yeah.
does have a bit of that. I thought what was really powerful was seeing women leads that the main character was a female, and it wasn't even an issue in the film. It didn't make a big deal about it. I thought they were strong enough characters to lead it. Yeah, I thought it was a good enough story.
It was odd that it was only her that was in there, though. I found that really strange. I was like, why is it just her?
Oh, what's that? Sorry.
The lead character, the doctor.
Oh, right, right.
Oh, her,
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, why is where are the other people in this place?
yes. Well, you see that part of the thing that was exciting about that was that it was starting to build a universe in itself around the X-Men universe. So she was actually like, did you find out? Did you catch who she was working for?
I did catch who she was was it Essex?
Yeah, the Essex
Yeah, so they
Corporation.
tried to tie it in with that.
Yeah, so which is what happens with Logan. So in Logan, it's the Essex Corporation. So there's a bunch of stuff that happened in this film that then got snippeted, like referenced in Logan.
Okay.
So you actually see that sort of world building happening, and I was excited for that too because the Essex Corporation is Mr. Sinister. So
Okay.
it starts
Oh,
taking you
okay.
down to the whole genetics experimentation and all that sort of thing.
Well, they could have added the kids from Logan to this.
Well,
Like,
that's
if it
they could
ended
have.
with them meeting up, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, when Danny explores the Doctor's mind, a lot of those clips were on the video footage in Logan.
Oh, okay. I
Oh.
didn't even notice.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't either. This
but yeah,
did make me want to watch Logan because of the reasons you were saying before of this was something very different from Marvel,
yes,
right? This
Yeah.
even though I don't feel like it hit 100% the mark,
right.
it's almost like they were experimenting, and then that was really cool. But that's what Logan did, right? And
Yeah.
Logan nailed it. There's no
Well,
other Marvel movie like this.
no, and you're right. Like, and that's to me, like Logan was the perfection of that because firstly, it was R-rated. It went with the R
Yeah.
rating, but it wasn't needlessly R-rated. It didn't feel like it
Mm.
was just throwing stuff in to be R-rated. It was just trying to
Yeah.
show the character, and the character can be brutal. And it was, I thought, yeah, I thoroughly love Logan. This, to me, New Mutants was the promise of something that could happen in the Marvel universe where we start to
Yeah.
explore genre, we start to explore character arcs, different parts of the universe without needing to have one big integrated everything leads to the climactic end where everyone shows up. These are just characters who are living their life in the periphery, but are impacted by everything, and have something to contribute to their own story.
And like you said earlier, superheroes and horror, that's a good mix. There was a movie with Elizabeth Banks that I watched a couple of years ago. I can't remember the name of it now. And that was basically a horror film where the kid was a bad kid and he got superpowers.
Ah, yes, you're talking about, was
Oh,
it Burn?
Brightburn.
Brightburn.
Brightburn. Was that
Yeah.
what it was
So that was
called?
effectively exploring the idea of what if Superman was a villain.
Yeah, and that was a good film.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, different to, like you say, the other sparkly Marvel. Yeah.
Did you see that one, Riley?
I haven't. I saw the trailers back then and I was like, this is 100% the type of movie I want. But my wife is so opposed to horror movies. And then
Oh,
whenever I can watch it, like I always forget, right? I always think of other
Yeah.
things.
yeah.
But now I'm looking back at it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it does. I remember this. This looks so good. I want
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, was
Just
that
different.
who did that? Who was the director on that? Because that was someone who was actually involved in the
Oh,
David
really?
Yarovesky.
who was
I feel like it was maybe the writer is who we were. Was it
maybe.
the Gunn? James? No.
It's
Brian
Gunn's
Gunn and Mark
involved.
Gunn.
No, you're right. I think Gunn's involved as a producer or something.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, that was a good film.
Yeah. James Gunn was involved in some way or another. From
Yeah,
producer
fair.
James Gunn. Yeah. Hey, but I think that's cool. Like that's where I think it's not Wanda. The Doctor Strange movie, right? Multiverse of Madness.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I think that's where it failed too, is like this they could have taken a lesson from New Mutants of like lean more into the horror aspect, but like they made
Yeah,
it
it was sort of
cheesy.
comical. Yeah, cheesy. Good word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
it's like
Yeah.
you can have comedy in it. Like look at so many other movies. Cabin in the Woods has a lot of comedy in there and a
does.
lot of horror, right? Like that is a perfect blend of those two genres. Well, and most horror movies have some elements of comedy throughout them, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I felt like they just tried to, instead of mashing the like having comedy in a horror movie, they were just completely trying to mash like comedy and horror together, and it was clashing.
Yeah. The interestingly, Bryan Singer, one of the scripts he rejected in putting the X-Men together was done by Joss Whedon.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was rejected on the basis that it was too funny. He just didn't want it to be a comedy. So there's a few jokes in there in the first X-Men, but he didn't want the thing to be a comedy. And I think in many regards that's what's made it last so long for me, is that it's takes the character seriously, but not overly seriously. It's not ridiculous.
Yeah. I loved the first X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Very much
Yeah.
so.
And I think that's an excellent point, is that it takes the character seriously, and the story it tries to tell in a good way. I think sometimes they try and make the story too serious, that maybe like there's things that'll have that disconnect of like your characters don't fit the story, or the story doesn't fit the characters. Like there's a clash there as well. And I think sometimes this movie might have touched into that, where something wasn't quite blending perfect. I think actually this movie, the main problem was the tone. Like
Mm.
they
Yeah.
had that conflicting tone kind of throughout, where you wanted there was little horror moments, but they weren't really that tense. Like the washing machine is one of the earliest horror moments,
Yeah.
and it was one of the best horror moments, like for him especially, other than the smiley men, right? Like
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
like that one scene, you were just like, oh my gosh, what is oh, like this washing machine thing is crazy. And then after that, it's everything else is pretty flat as far as like the what's going
Yeah.
on, what just happened.
You're right. And the
I don't know.
end fight scene seems to be a chance just for them to fight something.
Yeah.
so they can have a fight, instead of leaning into. I mean, I think there could have been a way for them to explore their powers while they were fighting their own personal demons and then needing to come together.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of, because in doing that, it had to kind of take the main character out of action for the majority of that final
Yeah,
act.
that was a shame, actually. I never thought about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's
Yeah.
really meant to be about her learning her powers and coming to terms with herself. But for that whole thing to work, they had to knock her out and effectively make her unable to control what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have
So
like the sort of dream sequence type thing of right where she's in her headspace
yeah,
trying to find herself during this whole scene.
Yeah.
yeah, which is
Yeah.
nice, and I kind of don't mind that, like having one of having her father come in and uh, help her to find herself and find her footing. But I don't think all the big action stuff going on around it needed to be the conclusion.
Yeah. Like I would have leaned more into the horror aspect of I mean, even if they were just trying to run and fight from the smiley men, right? Or something else, some other aspects of horror.
Yeah,
Um, I I think that could have been a lot more fascinating. I mean, right? Bring back. Did they ever bring back the priest again for Maisie
he
Williams?
happened. Yeah, no, that he just sort of appears twice, does his thing, and then disappears.
Yeah, like
Mm.
have everybody facing those kind of demons and struggling and then coming together and sort of like cross using their powers to help each other out. It doesn't need to be big and flashy. It's just kind of like finding themselves and learning that kind of confidence or them and having it be going back to many horror cliches, which I think would work for this, is
Yeah.
that it's not about defeating the villain, it's about surviving. Uh,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
and I think that would have like chef's
Yeah,
kiss it, you know, like
that's right.
I think that would have been better than the big
Yeah,
animal CGI
definitely.
fight. But even that, right? Like the end, there was the kind of tenderness of them coming together. And I know I'm sort of bashing on the movie, but I actually did enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, and,
Same.
like, I'm the same. Like, I'm quite willing to admit that it's not the best Marvel film, but for me, it was that there was this hope there, and watching it there, like especially when I went to the theaters and saw it, that Marvel could be exploring new avenues. There could be
Yeah.
the universe could expand. There could be a chance for directors to come in and start to play with the world around it. Because I think when I think about this, I suppose I also reflect back a lot on what was happening in the comics. I feel the comics really struggled the most when things got so big during the 90s. It became more about the the brand and the label controlling everything that happened, and so writers got less and less creative freedom. So what happened is that you effectively got more bland stories because you weren't allowed to
Yeah.
take risks. You couldn't have you'd have these. They wanted more crossovers with big world-ending events, but you couldn't actually have any risk to that because no one was really allowed to die for long. Um,
Mm,
like
yeah.
it just at one point, I think to try and create that risk, I can't remember if it was Marvel or DC instituted a policy of that no bringing characters back. So it made them go, if you're going to kill a character off, understand that they're not coming back. But I think it lasted all of like a year, and then they were bringing characters back again. It had
Yeah.
they just couldn't control themselves.
I mean, Wolverine was gone for quite a while.
Yeah, there was they had that big where they try. That was really weird, actually, wasn't it? I don't know
It
what you
was.
thought. Like,
Yeah.
because to me, the height of the Marvel MCU, building up to Infinity Stone and Endgame, and there wasn't a single comic book on the shelves that had any of the characters from the films in them. So it was all
Oh.
Hmm.
it was the Jane Thor, it was Miss Marvel as Captain Marvel, it was Weapon X, it was X 23 as Wolverine. And yeah, it was like every character, every main comic book didn't have the main character in it. It was some other version.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was, like, to me, it was like, what are you thinking? Like, people watching the films want to go buy the comics and they can't find the characters that they've fallen in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
interesting. They've
So-
made some interesting decisions. I know some of, like, I remember what's his name? Christopher Nolan. That's it. With the DC TV shows, they weren't allowed to use Batman while he was doing his trilogy because he didn't want Batman out there. You know,
Right.
he
Okay.
wanted people to have his view of Batman and no
Yeah.
others.
So was that like, was Gotham being made at that time? Is that the one, or was it just other films?
Did Gotham come out after that, or was that near the end of it?
I don't know.
Well, I think because they, you know, I wonder if Gotham would have cleared that because they had Bruce Wayne, right? And they didn't have Batman until nearing the end of it.
Yeah.
Actual Batman. So I'm pretty sure by the time it ended, that had cleared and they were okay to do it. If I remember right. Oh, that was a while ago. Man. Yeah. But I remember hearing that and being like, oh, because, you know, Arrow was big. And Flash and all those DC TV shows, I think, were kind of starting up. And they just, they couldn't have those little things in there.
Nice. Well, I have to say, I think, you know, considering talking about where does the Marvel Universe go, that Secret Wars trailer, that's probably why I got excited, because it didn't look like a standard Marvel film.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited as well.
Like, I haven't watched anything since, like, Spider-Man 3 was such a letdown. I just went, nah, I'm out. But that trailer, Jings, that could...
Yeah, it looks like gritty espionage more than superhero stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
That could drag me back, maybe. I might even consider... I don't know. Do I want to be dragged back?
You do want to be dragged back, Dave. You
Secretly,
do.
I do.
But that means you probably will have to go back and watch the other ones that you know aren't super great.
No, it's not happening.
So I got a question for you. What hero do you think could have sort of a different movie? What hero do you think they could explore maybe a different genre or style with?
I actually think, like, I really enjoyed Deadpool, for instance. Like, they took full comedy for Deadpool, R-rated, it worked. But they actually trolled one of my favorite groups, which is X-Force. X-Force comes out of the New Mutants. So when after about volume 3 of the New Mutants, they transition into X-Force. And that's where they kick off. But X-Force is a fascinating group. Peter David's version of X-Factor was really good. He took it down sort of like a spy agency working in like a private detective agency, sorry. They're all effectively PIs doing mutant work, like trying to investigate, you know, sort of like just different stories to do it. But it was all small stories. It wasn't big cataclysmic stuff. And then one of the joys that Peter David brought into it was all the interesting relationship stuff. X-Force was more of a tactical espionage group, so they did all of your covert ops missions, which I really enjoyed. Nate Gray, which was the clone of sorry, I'm blanking.
Too many.
Yeah. Well, Nate was the clone of Cable, and his whole thing was he had this story where he came from the Age of Apocalypse. None of that's necessary or relevant, but his thing was he had this incredible power that was slowly killing him, and so he only had a 1-volume comic book series, and it was him sort of almost searching for the meaning to his life and trying to make the best impact he can while he's dying, effectively.
See, that's a good story, though. You don't need all the bells and whistles and CGI.
No.
That's a good... And the thing you mentioned before about the detectives, I I'd watch that.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome.
I like the idea of that. It gives you a chance to explore how mutants would operate in the day-to-day life of the world
Yeah.
and find all the little interesting stories on the side, where it's not just about cities being destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you can't just destroy all the cities. You actually have to learn to live in them.
Oh, well, there's your tagline. And on that note,
So that's why I thought the New Mutants could have possibly saved the Marvel Universe, but I'm not sure. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Secret Wars is going to save it.
well, we can hope, can't we?
Oh, I
But
can
yeah,
hope.
good. I'm glad you made me watch it, Dave. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
definitely worth watching. Definitely has a lot of cool things about it. I think that's the thing, is that if it was so bad, I would have been indifferent about, like, okay, this isn't hitting, whatever, blah. But it was doing things so well and exploring new things that you don't normally see in a Marvel movie, that it was like teasing me. It was teasing me of like,
Yes,
You
oh my
could be
gosh,
so
what if
much
they went
more.
further? Yeah, like they
that's
don't even
right.
have to like go that much further to get this where it needs to be like just a really good, solid movie, period. Like,
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think I don't know how much time you've got, Riley.
Yeah, probably call it here for me.
Nice.
If
Excellent.
that's all right.
Yeah.
That's
If you
fine.
both want it, you can keep going if you'd like.
No, we've been going for an hour and 10,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
or
we have.
nearly.
So that's right. I'll save other things for next week, because we're going to talk about whatever games we played. So we'll hold on to that to next time, shall we?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
should we do that?
Yeah,
Do
we'll do
a
board game
gaming
episode,
one.
so it sounds great.
Awesome. That gives me time to play a board game at least, so I look like a board gamer next
Hey,
week.
holidays, invite me around. Where's Amanda? Where's Colin? What's going on?
Do you
Where's
know
my
what?
invite?
This week is mental, and we've got the grandkids on the weekend. We're doing Christmas in not July on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, but next week.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Next week's Easter.
Well,
Next
thanks
week's
for
Easter for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what time I'll be home. I'll probably be home by then. Yeah, we'll plan on it.
Well, we'll work it out. And thanks
Yeah.
to my mate Clowny, a friend from the old Nerf days. He's a character, and he does amazing miniature mods as well. So
Nice.
if you're in Geeky Blinders, which is a group on Facebook, that's where you see his
I should
stuff.
have realized the Nerf was Nerf guns.
Nerf, yeah,
Did
yeah,
not-
that's what.
it-
That was nice
what-
of him
yeah.
to drop by and chat away there. We
Yeah,
did
thanks.
actually have quite a few viewers at one point, but they just weren't in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
Good.
Thanks,
All right.
guys. It was fun.
Excellent. Good. Thanks for that. Thanks for indulging me as in Marvel movies.
Oh,
Thanks for
anytime.
finally push. Like, I've wanted to watch this forever, and I just needed that push. So
Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
it would be fun to do other things kind of like this, of
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
maybe
definitely.
nerd type movies that we, for
Should
one
watch.
reason or another, just
Maybe
haven't
I'll
watched.
go and watch the rest of Loki.
Yeah. Both of you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.